Greetings to you today and welcome to our daily Devo for this Friday, the 21st of June today. Our devotion is entitled Our Father. That portion, obviously, first part is Charles Dickens, and then some thoughts from Gene Fisher. Looks like we're going to Dombey and Son again today, people that went out of business. So this is entitled Our Father. His feeling about the child had been negative from her birth. He had never conceived an aversion to her. It had not been worth his while or in his humor. She had never been a positively disagreeable object to him, but now he was ill at ease with her. She troubled his peace. He would have preferred to put her idea aside altogether if he had known how. Perhaps, who will decide on such mysteries? He was afraid that he might come to hate her. When little Florence timidly presented herself, Mr. Dombey stopped in his pacing up and down and looked towards her. Had he looked with greater interest and with a father's eye, he might have read in her keen glance the impulses and fears that made her waver, the passionate desire to run, clinging to him, crying as she hid her face in his embrace. "Oh, Father, try to love me. There's no one else." The dread of a repulse, the fear of being too bold and of offending him, the pitiable need in which she stood of some assurance and encouragement, and how her overcharged young heart was wandering to find some natural resting place for its sorrow and for its affection. But he saw nothing of this. He saw her pause irresolutely at the door and look towards him, and he saw no more. "Come here, Florence," said her father coldly. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes, Papa." She looked down and put out her trembling hand. Again, hopefully Miss Fisher is going to help us out here. Although we've been to Dombey and Son before, to come in the middle of something like this, it's hard to get the whole scene, as it were. Mr. Dombey wished to ignore his daughter, Florence. Their relationship was strained, at best. In this passage, Dickens crafts their conflicting emotions. Perhaps some of Dickens's own feelings are revealed here. He had a difficult relationship with his father. On the other hand, he held warm affection for him. But he hated that his father was a poor manager of money and had ended up in a debtor's prison. At times, both Dickens and his character Florence must have felt fatherless. Psalm 68:5 says that God is a father of the fatherless. When, for whatever reason, our human parents fail us, we can trust God to care for us. King David wrote, quote, "When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take care of me." Psalm 27:10. 2 Thessalonians 2:16 tells us that God the Father, through his grace, gives us, quote, "eternal encouragement, and good hope." And 1 John 3:1 reminds us that we are children of a loving God. Quote, "How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we," I would put the emphasis on that we, such as we, will be called children of God, and that is what we are," unquote. We need not be frightened or timid like poor little Florence, For we have a Father who is eager to spend time with us through prayer and through his word. Make time to spend with your Father today. He is waiting to hear from you. Matthew 6:9, when Jesus answered the question of his disciples that they would teach them how to pray, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Amen. It is a beautiful picture that we are encouraged to call God our Father. It's an intimate family relationship. Jesus is our brother. It's amazing that such as we, and I think we should be amazed by that. We should be overwhelmed by the grace that we can call him Father, just like Jesus calls him Father. When he prayed, that's what he called him. And we're invited to do that as well. Our Father. All humans are imperfect. Every last one of us. Not one of us is perfect. Some of us have good fathers. They weren't perfect, but they did their best and they loved us. And they provided for us. Others of us have had fathers that didn't seem to want to take up that position, didn't want to take up that responsibility. And so we didn't grow close to them. Human relationships hopefully can be sweet and what they ought to be, but not always, just as we see here with Mr. Dombey. For some reason, he resented this daughter of his, this child of his. Maybe he'd hoped for a son that could help him in the business afterwards. After all, it was Dombey and Son. Relish the personal nature of God saying, you can call me Father. Of Jesus teaching us to pray that when we go to him, go to God the Father. That's who we're going to. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And know that he's a perfect Father. Knowing that he will provide. Knowing that he cares for us. He loves us. It's a peace-giving reality and thought that we need to have all the time about who our God is and what he is to us and for us. Blessings to you today.